Hopefully, I'm gonna play a little bit of music in the background. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. I should have done this first, but I have a little bit of music. I like to play this one song for our background, and I'll turn it down. Welcome to our stream. We're just chatting about Zelda today. We have Marc The Cyborg joining again. He's been on the channel quite a bit. What's up, Marc?
Yeah, you know, I'm around. Quite a lot, actually. Lots happened, but we'll get into it probably towards the end. I started a new channel, the relationship-y stuff, and yeah, and I'm leaving the military officially.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
It's gonna be
that's gonna be big. And then we have Flamenco TV joining for the first time on Lofty Lounge. Welcome, Flamenco.
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you. Well, I streamed with you before a couple times.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Yeah. So, and chat, how you doing, chat? What's everybody up to? How many of you have played this game so far? I know some people in here have the game. What's up, Sketch? Solid Redfield, Classy. What's up, Wingus? So, we'll get into some of the discussion points. We're going to talk about the fandom in general. We're going to talk about the hardware on the Nintendo Switch and the emulators. We're going to talk about reviewing and review scores, and then like the future of the franchise and all that. But at the very beginning of the stream, I want to get your take on how much you've played and what's your like brief takeaway of the game so far. I guess we can start with Marc. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, people will often know that I have a reputation as being something of a Nintendo hater, mostly because I think the Nintendo Switch is incredibly outdated hardware. Yes. I prefer that games run at 60 FPS, at least as the target. And hey, if there's a couple dips, sure. But, you know, like I think that's what we should be going for at this point. And I think that this seemed like kind of a cash grab to me. I was like, okay, well, I feel like they've got the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever it's called ready to go. But they're going to sell everybody Zelda and then sell everybody Zelda Tears of the Kingdom HD again. It seemed to me like more Breath of the Wild with some floating islands. And it is. The weapon durability's back. All the things that sucked about Breath of the Wild are back, but they don't suck as much. That's probably a spoiler for later. But I'm blown away by the depth and complexity of the sandbox in this friggin' video game, man. It's wild to the point that I don't really think I don't think Armored Core or Baldur's Gate 3 or anything else coming out later, the Final Fantasy 16, I don't think there's anything that they can do which will really compete with this from like the award seasons and stuff, because it's like, well, I mean, the creativity in this game and just what it lets you do is kind of mind-blowing. And I do think the game runs like dog shit, though, on its native hardware.
Well, that's fair.
So it's not perfect, but
that sounds
pretty
like some
damn masterful at the same time.
Yeah, some of the reviews have been saying the same thing. They think it's an excellent game, but it has issues. Flamenco, and that you let me know what you think, and then I'll finish off the what I think about it.
Yeah, so I've been playing it mostly off stream, but I also played a little bit on stream. Off stream, I've gotten like one of the dungeons done, and I've been just going through every single shrine that I can, and I've gotten like 75 done so far. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the Nintendo Switch, honestly. As a person who also PC games, Nintendo Switch generally has like the other games that I don't have in my already library. And anything else I'll just play on PC, even if it's gonna take a little while to wait for, like Final Fantasy 16. Yeah. But I've been very pleasantly surprised with the game. I've been looking forward to it ever since we saw the first like hands-on gameplay demo, and we saw the building mechanics. And honestly, I am a little bit more forgiving of performance dips when it's on a console like the Nintendo Switch, because it's essentially a 2014 was 8 years ago, so it is an 8-year-old phone, essentially, like a very mid-range price point. 8-year-old
I'll
phone.
clarify. My argument is that I feel like they have another one ready to go, and the only like this is a next gen Switch game. They're just like, yeah, but it'll run.
I disagree.
Like, whatever.
I think it's the same
Either
as
that or
Breath of
this
the
is the
Wild.
Wii U, and we're gonna get Tears of the Kingdom
Yeah,
on the
yes.
new hardware. too.
Also, Breath of the Wild as well. Yes, Lofty.
And Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild is a game that is a generation ahead of when it's going to be able to run properly. And so is this game. And that's fine to a degree. Bloodborne's the same way. I have a tattoo with like the Bloodborne hunter sign here. I like that doesn't mean I don't love this game or even appreciate everything about its design. But Nintendo is holding this thing back by keeping it on hardware that can kind of run it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask Mark real quick on that one specifically because it's just a little tangent I want to hop in on. What do you think is the reason we haven't seen Bloodborne make a leap to PlayStation 5 or PC yet?
I don't know exactly because I've heard a lot. It's possible that just the port was dog shit and that they said, okay, we can't release this. But what's weird is then they released The Last of Us Part 1 on PC, which was not a good port at all. So as far as though there was a leak a while back, I actually even made a video for it on Geeks and Gamers like probably 3 years ago where there was some like influencer Twitch streamer girl like said, yeah, no, like Bloodborne remake / or not remake, but PC port / PS5 patch is going to be announced at the next State of Play, and it just wasn't. And she was like, yeah, no, like I was talking to someone there, like they must have pulled it at the last second. So something's going on with that. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but Lance McDonald, who I forget what he is on Twitter exactly, but he's a modder who modded Bloodborne to run on a modified PS4 Pro running at 720p, changing one line of code, and it runs at a perfect 60 FPS with better frame timing than the 30 FPS Bloodborne there. And for years, he's just been being like, I don't know why they just don't change that one line of code. Like, he's just like, it's driving me out of my mind. It's like, it was so simple. And I've streamed the entire game at 720p 60, and I don't get why Sony doesn't just, let this game shine. And I think like I feel the same way about Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, you can play pretty perfectly at high frame rate, 60 FPS with the Wii U emulator. The Switch emulator isn't quite as good. I right now am playing Tears of the Kingdom on the Yuzu emulator, which is a Switch emulator, but I have a patch on it actually that locks the game at a static 30 FPS. Sorry, my dogs are freaking out at each other because I found the 60 FPS pass was kind of inconsistent.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, this 30 FPS one though is pretty sweet. I don't like playing games at 30, but I will if it's the better experience. Hold on one sec, Jojo. He's just a baby.
So I have played about not as much as you, dude. 75 shrines. Holy shit. I got like 7 hearts and like 1.5 stamina bars. Playing, I'm just kind of wandering around. I'm looking for I'm basically trying to perfect my fusion weapons system at the moment, trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like.
I used some of your amber arrowheads.
Man. I was telling him the other day that amber arrows are good for fusion, but I just realized I think you need them for upgrading something, don't you?
Yeah, you do need to upgrade for a couple of things with amber, so it's better. Honestly, I usually just put like a little fire plant or something on my arrows, and I use monster horns for my weapons,
or those construct horns or whatever.
Yeah.
And the amber is great for the beginning of the game, but eventually you want to get to saving those. But yeah, and then I got the climber gear. Outfit, and then I have I found this cool ice thing.
Boy, oh, that was bad.
Yeah, these shrines are so much fun. I think they're way more fun than the old shrines. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I've been having a blast with them.
Yeah, they're mostly the same. Like they're quick little puzzles that might take you a little bit of thinking, but they're generally like very satisfying once you do them, and that's always really fun.
I think Camelot. I immediately figured it out too. Hey,
I will say, I do like the way that they approach dungeons in this game. I don't know if you guys have gotten to that yet, but the way that they do dungeons.
No, not yet.
is a little bit differently. And it
Yeah.
kind of is more reminiscent of old school Zelda dungeons, where you get a
seriously,
you get like some sort of item or upgrade for that dungeon.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna do that on stream tomorrow, because you know that little bird guy you follows you around.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that probably would be fun to do that boss fight on stream. So I'm waiting. I'm doing.
Oh no!
At the moment. Yeah. So I like the game a lot. The cool thing about this game is if you like combat, you can do combat. If you like the puzzle solving, you can just do a bunch of shrines. You can do that. You know, you can, if you like exploring, you don't really have to do combat really, or you can do all of it. You know, this is mentioned in the article by Game Informer that the producer talked about how fans of Zelda have a lot of core things that they like about the games: the puzzle solving, the world building, and then like the exploration and things like that with Wind Waker. And he wanted to incorporate as much as possible and let people have the freedom to play it how they prefer. So that's a big thing with Breath of the Wild and with Tears of the Kingdom, as opposed to the older Zelda games outside of the original. And with that being said, I do want to talk about, there's a little bit of well, to be fair, this game has very high scores on Metacritic. I guess we could go to that for a second. Let me pull this up quick. So this is the Metacritic scores.
You say Meta, not Meta?
Is it Metacritic?
I mean, I don't know.
Like Metacritic.
Metacritic.
I thought you were from Texas. I didn't realize you were in Philadelphia. I have no idea what that accent's like.
Oh,
is it kind of like Boston, but I don't know, like
Philly.
sort of different?
Who, me? No,
I don't know the accent. I couldn't even tell where you were from based on how you sound.
It's just northeastern U.S. or I don't know. But the Metacritic scores, here's the fucking problem with Metacritic. Let me know if you guys agree. I think the critic scores are, generally speaking, this is where I go to, I don't like reading individual articles unless they're trusted. However, they seem to be pretty accurate with their combined scores. I'll tell you what.
Sorry. Oh,
see if we can find it. Oh my god, the dog is intense.
That dog was very, very
honestly
angry.
I forgot I wasn't muted, and I realized she was right beside the microphone.
Yeah.
that was my bad.
Lofty was just too polite to bring that up.
Yeah, I was trying to finish my thought, but here, this is what I wanted to talk about. Here's the top rated games of all time. All right. On Metacritic. This is from the critics. And generally speaking, all of these games are fucking amazing. Okay? I mean, literally, like, I don't know. I like to know what the critics generally think of games. Not as much with movies, but like, I mean, this is a pretty good list here of some of the best games of all time. You know, I don't know what you guys think. Now, the user reviews, here's Breath of the Wild. Oh no. I think it dropped down a bit. Here's Elden Ring, 36. But let me go back to the other one, because this is what I wanted to actually talk about, was the user scores. 8.7. Lot of 10s. Do you guys know about the sales? How much the game sold?
Not yet. No. What's I'd imagine they've
Didn't
already sold like
outsell
several
Hogwarts
million
Legacy?
units.
Yeah, I'm hearing it dwarfed Hogwarts, and it sold like 2 times what Breath of the Wild did at launch. That's what I'm hearing. But this is interesting. We have a lot of negatives. There's a portion of the community, of the Zelda community. I don't even know if all these people are Zelda fans, to be honest. But there's a lot of people who can't stand the open world Zelda experience. And look at all of these zeros.
Adam Krigler was saying
Look at all of these zeros. I went on my stream the other day. I was talking about this. I think a lot of these zeros are people who abuse the review system, and they don't really know how to review a game properly, like to help other people. and this is just them like venting and like raging over the game, and they think a 0 is like makes them feel sleep at night. Is clearly not a 0. This game is really, really, really good. But
it's been really funny too, because I've been seeing a lot of people. Press this. I was seeing that on Twitter anyway. People were getting really, really mad that people didn't like the vampire 4-person shooter thing, Redfall. They didn't like Redfall, but they liked Breath of the Tears of the Kingdom. Like, but this runs at 30 FPS too. It's like, but it's supported by like a very solid art design.
Yeah.
It's also Redfall's performance on my PC, which has an RTX 3090, and it is shit. It's a terribly optimized game. It's worse than it's worse than Tears of the Kingdom, like especially running on a Switch. It runs like Tears of the Kingdom runs when I'm trying to use the 60 FPS mod in an area where there's particle effects.
Yeah, but even if the game ran perfectly, it would still be a shit game. Like Redfall has like 2007 era open world mechanics. Like Breath of the Wild, like love it or hate it, it pretty much it inspired Elden Ring. I mean, it changed the way we approach open world sandbox games.
It has like direct imitators like Immortals, Phoenix Rising, and Genshin Impact. I mean, granted, they both kind of did their own thing with the gameplay template, but I'd say those are at least as much like Breath of the Wild as all the, Souls-like things were. Like, oh wait, I'm so dumb. Oh my god, my engineering brain just kicked in, and I realized I've been saying, like, Jojo, have you been growling at me for being stupid about this puzzle?
So here's one that I want to talk about. This is an example. This guy says, hold on, where's it at? Oh, that's the huge steaming pile of garbage thing. Greedy developers charging $60 for a mobile game. Okay, see, like these people are just retarded. It doesn't even have AAA. It doesn't even have the AAA quality to justify the price tag. I would argue it has a more complex world than any AAA game I've played, maybe outside of Elden Ring. I don't know. This guy's talking.
The AAA quality thing is fanboy language. It's the my god, like $70, you need the quality of something like a PlayStation exclusive. It's like, I don't know, man. Like you can have pretty amazing games that are released on low tech hardware. Like the game design doesn't have a fixed price point.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're rating a game based on the price of the game, I think that's stupid. I never do that. I don't care if Shadow of the or let's pick a game. That's 4 hours. Eco, the first one, that PS2 game. It's like 4 hours long. If that game was $700, I would still give it a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about how much it costs. I'll write about it in my review, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that it depends on the context of how you're here. Because I'm going to talk a fair amount here. I'll go to my actual face. The context of how the review is written, and most specifically as far as what I mean here is when it's written, matters a lot. Because I think if you're a major publication who got an advanced review code and you're releasing a launch day review, if the game is overpriced, you're being journalistically irresponsible if you don't mention the price, which I called out IGN. I actually got in an argument on Facebook with Per Schneider, one of the the founders of IGN, about whether or not they should have mentioned The Last of Us Part 1 remake being $70 in the review, because they don't mention it even once. And all I was getting from all the people in that Podcast Beyond Facebook group was, but you don't understand, it has nothing to do with the score, because the game's gonna have different prices, but right now it's a 10 out of 10, so it's always going to be a 10 out of 10. I was like, well, but is this an academic critique of art? Like, are you writing a critical analysis of The Last of Us Part 1 in this IGN article, or is this a product review that is meant to be a consumer guide, like a guide for people to decide if they should spend the money on something? And I think if it's a launch week review, you're a buyer's guide, man. Like you have to understand that most of the people are going to decide whether or not they spend this money based on what you wrote, and some of them are just going to look at the number.
The actual article is important. I don't think What do you think, Flamenco? What do you think? What are your thoughts on tying review scores to? Well, you could also include performance at launch, because that's another thing. But what about like the price of the game?
I mean, I will always judge a game a little bit differently, also on how it like gets charged. But for 70, well, for I still don't want to ever pay money more than $60 for a game. Hopefully, we can get out of that trend, but I don't think that's going to be very likely. I mean, Breath of the Wild is easily bang for your buck, so I don't really buy this thing. Like, granted though, I also get like a shit ton of hours of enjoyment out of Vampire Survivors, and that's like $3. So, you know,
yeah,
based. Yeah.
Yes,
it's a great
I would
game.
say for the most part. Sorry, my dogs are barking way upstairs, but I hope you can't hear them. I think it's fine.
Dogs barking on stream, lofty.
Yeah. But I think generally speaking, when I think about value, I think of content, and a combination of the content in the game and how many hours I'm playing it. And if I'm going to spend 50, 60, 70 hours on a game that I really enjoy and there's a lot of content, I think it's worth $60. I mean, now,
I made it, everybody.
It does depend. There's indie games like, what are those 4X strategy games that come out or that are like on Steam that are $30, and there's thousands of hours of content.
Crusader Kings or Stellaris, those games.
But as far as like a big epic adventure single player game, I think that's standard. And raising it to 10 doesn't really. Who cares? I buy like 5 games a year. I don't give a fuck. And it's like, if everybody else is doing it, I get it. Sony's doing it. Xbox is doing it.
Well, where I'm bothered by it is that the people who defended Sony doing it and Microsoft doing it are like now acting like Nintendo can't. And I'm just like, well, you realize that it was never about the budgets of the game, right? Like you guys do know that, because their whole thing would be like, well, I mean, with the next gen power, the PlayStation 5, they got to be $10 more expensive because the games are just that awesome. And I'm like, can we drop that now? Like, can we understand that is not the reason? It's just because they could. That's the reason.
Well, and also market prices. Like, I have a feeling inflation definitely informs that decision quite a bit. So
sure, I mean, but my argument is like, okay, like change your game targets. Like, don't. If you can't afford to make your game look like Last of Us Part 2 or a Call of Duty game, then make something that focuses more on game mechanics and game design decisions. Like, I mean, I'm honestly like Tears of the Kingdom here. It's a game that doesn't look crazy good, super real. Oh my God, can you imagine the power of the Nintendo Switch? It looks like Breath of the Wild, but it's like, well, but plays really fucking well.
I did want to talk about the performance, because a lot of people are saying this. Okay, this guy says 70 for 720p 30 FPS game, graphics closer to a cartoon, and then he says, I don't support.
Well, I mean, so that right there is also like kind of annoying. This is something that like game developers have been able to exemplify on Nintendo since like the GameCube. If you have a solid art direction, and if you have a solid idea of what you're wanting to do, the kind of like high fidelity graphics beam really doesn't fucking matter. If you're able to maintain a specific art style and a specific art direction and stick to these sort of cartoonish looking styles, you can get a really, really good looking game without having to like strain the hardware specifically. Like, and that's just talented developers, because fucking when Final Fantasy 14 first released, they had like plants that had 156 different polygons on it, and it made the game run like fucking shit. So, it's you gotta.
And then but the issue that people are stuck like trying to defend their argument is when we're talking about like 30 FPS, and they're like 30 FPS in 2023 is unacceptable. And this I can't find the one guy that I was arguing with,
30
But,
FPS on a fighting game is unacceptable. 30
Yeah.
FPS on a shooter game is unacceptable. 30 FPS on a platforming sandbox game, as long as it's a consistent frame rate, is 100% acceptable.
I've got a take that is a bit somewhere in the middle there. I think it's very acceptable to have a game like this game. I think running at 30 FPS on Switch, you're not asking for better. Awesome that it even exists. Like, bravo, no complaints there. I wish the frame timing was a bit more consistent, but you know, at the same time, it's playable. It's I don't think there's any reason why you should not get this game if you own a Nintendo Switch. I'm playing on an emulator, but I have it on Switch. I dumped my copy from my Switch, and it plays really well there. Where I think Nintendo is doing this game a disservice, and all of us a disservice, is making that the only way it can be played, and making it so that there isn't a piece of hardware that can give us. You had the 3DS XL, or the new 3DS was the one with the faster processor. We have where there's the age of the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and you know, like a hardware revision at the very least. Or honestly, I think that we might be at the point that, you know, you just sell it on PC for $70 and make more money than you could possibly imagine. And then like everyone's gonna buy it on Switch. All the Switch players aren't gonna buy a gaming PC to play like the Steam version of Tears of the Kingdom. But if it's a scalable game, then it can live forever and it will always age gracefully, the way most old first-person shooters have.
It's more about modding scene won't have to go through a fucking emulator too, because
exactly, because the modding scene is going to happen anyways. Like that's the thing. It's like right now, I'm fucking playing. I'm playing this game on a PC right now, Nintendo. Like, you're not stopping anything. You made it hard for me to pay you for it, and I had to take the ethical step to not pirate the game, to go out and buy a copy of the game, and to play my own copy using different hardware. That's still kind of borked, and I'm still tricking my PC into thinking it's a Nintendo Switch. So I'm just like, well, I mean, I might still own a Switch. I might not. I hardly buy anything on my Switch at all, because it's never now that I have a Steam Deck, I'm not buying any indie games on my Switch ever. I'm just going to buy the Steam version, because I know that when Nintendo releases their next console, they might say, hey, all those purchases, you have your Switch to play those, but if you want to play them on this new device, you got to buy those again. Whereas I know that's not going to happen on Steam. I know that I'm just going to have those games for as long as Steam exists. And
I think, here's my take. Obviously, they want their own ecosystem. They don't want to do PC releases and I don't think they should have to. Now, look, think about this. This guy's like this. Okay, some of the best games. Okay, I was like, they have subpar graphics, and I was like, well, some of the best games ever made have subpar graphics, and he's like, yeah, they were made decades ago. And then he said, when subpar graphics were excusable, perfectly fine, but having subpar graphics in 2023 is inexcusable. Forget the fact that it's 8-year-old technology. Forget the fact that it's a handheld console. I was like, this is like saying Phantom Hourglass can't be a 10 out of 10 because it wasn't capable of matching the graphical fidelity of a AAA PS4 game. Because
that's nonsense.
You remember that the fucking 3DS was around the same time the PS4 was around. And then if you have the same argument that these dumbass faggots are saying about this game, it's not 4K 60 FPS. Well, it's on a handheld technology from 8 years ago. What do you expect? It's the dumbest argument. And it's like, here, I don't care if you complain about the Switch. Go for it. Whoops. Go for it. Complain about the Switch. That's fine. It's a totally different argument than saying this game can't be a masterpiece, because
I'm on the fuck you for making me play this on a Switch when this masterpiece should be on hardware which can run it better. I'm not saying it's not a masterpiece. I'm saying that they're doing it a disservice by keeping it on the handheld hardware.
That's fine. That's fair. I personally am having no problems maintaining 30 FPS. I think it looks great on my TV. I think it drops when I do Ultra Hand occasionally, but that's about it. A lot of people don't really care. There are people that don't care about 30 FPS. They just exist.
I think there's people whose brain actually doesn't track it. I'm not insulting them at all. It's just kind of the way some people are, I don't know, colorblind or something. It's just refresh rate isn't something that your brain picks up on consciously. You probably notice it unconsciously, but I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people who I know and respect who just tell me, I don't see the difference between 30 FPS and 60 FPS at all.
I get a little motion sick when there's an inconsistent frame rate or there's like constant drops in frame rate. But yeah,
oh yeah, that's the worst. Absolutely worst case scenario right there.
Yeah, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks were DS. My bad. But it's like, nobody cared about it when it was just a handheld. Now that it's a handheld combined with a console, suddenly they're like, oh, it has to have console quality modern 2023 graphics. It's like, well, it's still a handheld.
I think they're mad, honestly, because they might be other console fanboys who have had
PS5 maybe.
who have had a myriad of their big titles launch, and with the exception of the Dead Space remake and the Resident Evil 4 remake, I haven't seen a major and Hogwarts Legacy. I haven't seen like a major like AAA game that hadn't had a myriad of performance issues out the box.
Even Dead Space wasn't perfect. It was doable. Like it was. You got frame hitches pretty regularly when you were switching zones, but it would stabilize after a second or two. But it wasn't a perfectly seamless experience. Like, ideally it could have been a little bit more polished than that, considering how incredible the game looked from a tech standpoint other than that. But like, I mean, really the only reason I bother pointing that out, it's like, hey, even one of the ones where I'm like, yeah, definitely one of the best games of the year, it's like, yeah, still had a couple issues. It wasn't perfect from a tech standpoint, and it's EA making a Frostbite engine game, so it's like, well, you guys are the ones who use that. Yeah, see, Classy Vigilante is correct, though. Resident Evil 4 remake looks incredible because the RE engine is like insane. It's a beautiful engine.
And it runs really well, too. It runs extremely well, too.
It ran on a base PS4. It ran, granted, I think at 720p, but it ran Resident Evil 7 at 90 frames a second. Because that's what it required for VR.
Oh yeah, because they do the VR stuff. Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up because, hold on. I love Resident Evil 4. I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year though. I think this.
No, it's not beating this.
But
I think it'll win a specific title. That's
it'll win like
part of whatever Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom is in. But it's definitely going to win some awards, I feel.
If Resident Evil 4 wins a horror category, I might actually be pissed because I'll be like, you guys don't know shit, dude. Honestly, what always bothers me the most about the Game Awards is the categories. I'm like, you guys don't know anything about video games, do you?
Well, it also doesn't help that like sometimes there's games that don't really fit into like there's not enough in a category to fill out an entire like 4 in the roster for who's competing, so they got to like merge them together, and you get like fighting and rhythm games,
Guitar Hero, Metallica. It's like sports.
It's like when they have Call of Duty nominated for best action game. It's like
you're just like, what does action game mean and what does shooter mean then? Like, what's an action game and what's a shooter? And what's an adventure game? Tell me. Because I know I could tell you clear differences between those, but I don't think the people making those categories can.
No.
I swear Jeff Keighley is a extremely like head up his own narcissist if he doesn't find some way to incorporate Matan Evan into the Game Awards this year.
Oh yeah,
like I'm sorry, but that kid is fucking everywhere, and he needs to be like actually in the Game Awards, and then they need to do something with that.
He was at the writers.
They got to just have him and Joseph Fares, and have Matan Evan pretending he's Joseph Fares' son, because that's what a lot of people thought he was.
Yeah.
People were like, is that the Get Out guy or the A Way Out guy and It Takes Two guy's kid or something?
This is a new article from Game Informer. I'll click on it in a second, but it's Tears of the Kingdom boss Eiji Aonuma says that it will be the new format for the series going forward. And there's people now. That's all it says in this tweet. It explains further if people could choose to read it. But this guy goes, yeah, nah, new format. Oh wait, yeah, a new format that isn't really Legend of Zelda, just a new IP with the Zelda name. And I was just like, oh, you son of a bitch. So are these people Zelda fans, or are they just like retard? Like what kind of take is
they might be might be going from like the framework that it's not a Ocarina of Time type game, so it's inherently inferior. But like,
But how is it a new IP?
At the end of the day, the original, like the NES Legend of Zelda, was to recapture Miyamoto's like childhood of exploring caves and shit near his neighborhood.
Exploring the forest in your neighborhood.
Yeah, you get to do that in this game.
Is the closest, Breath of the Wild is the closest Zelda ever was to the original experience, which was the open world, original Zelda game, and that's what he wanted to do forever. This is how Zelda was always supposed to be, not these, and it talks about it in this review. It actually mentions, I'm not going to read it, but it goes into his whole philosophy of game design, and the fact that I'll find the Ocarina one. Let me find it. It's down here when he starts talking about it. Here we go. I think a lot of people share the viewpoint that Ocarina of Time was kind of a starting point for one era of Zelda games, laying the foundation for several titles that came after. Do you see Breath of the Wild as establishing new blueprint or foundation of the next several Zelda games? And eventually he gets to the bottom here and he says it's correct to say that it has created a new kind of format for the series to proceed from. But he talks about Ocarina. He says, I think it's correct to say that it did kind of create a format for a number of titles in the franchise, but in some ways that was a little bit restricting. And he's like, we always want to give the player freedom of certain kinds, a lot of freedoms. There were certain things that the format didn't really afford in giving people freedom. He's talking about Ocarina. Then he says, there's another part of this where he talks about how like the open world versus like the modular style of like old school like Zelda, like some of the middle Zelda games. Like I said, the original and Breath of the Wild are open world, and it's how it's always meant to be played. But yeah, it looks. So what do you think this means? Are we going to be getting more Breath of the Wild? Is this a trilogy? Is that what we're looking at? Or
if they've got new ideas for new powers that you can do new cool things with, I'm in. Day one buy, like,
yeah.
Even if it's on fucking Switch.
Yeah, I think this is something that I brought up today. I want to see what you guys think. Okay, I said, give me Wind Waker 2 with tier sandbox format and replace Sky Islands and Chasms with islands and underwater exploration.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Then I have new variations of the Ultra Hand for crafting boats, submarines, and jet skis. Scuba outfits. The Ascend ability could just be for fast, surfacing from deep underwater. And then like,
or it could be its own sort of version of it.
It could be
like a water boost.
Yeah,
maybe one that you could use in any direction underwater.
Maybe, but like, imagine Wind Waker. Now, my brother was like, they should just do a trilogy, and the third game in the Zelda Breath of the Wild trilogy should have a flooded Hyrule Kingdom. And I was like, well,
and then the islands or the Sky Islands,
or something else. Yeah, but I was like, why don't we just do Wind Waker? Because people are gonna complain if it's the same map again for the third time.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Although at the same time, man, if
it's complaining about that for this game, and it
I know
makes sense to an extent. Although I would argue that you interact with the world in an entirely different way now, so it's kind of brand new again.
Yeah, the powers are kind of a deal breaker there, aren't they? Like, it's like, well, is it the same?
Yeah.
Like, it's physically the same. They did the Far Cry Primal or Far Cry New Dawn thing where they just took Far Cry 4 or 5 respectively, and we're just like, yeah, let's just do another game with the same map. We'll just change some shit. And I don't know. He's a caveman now.
I just think,
but yeah, they did that, but also we're like, oh yeah, now let's make it so that we create sandbox systems that are going to make it so that people can be doing crazy shit with this for decades to come. Now, like, there will be no end to people doing crazy shit in Minecraft or Gary's Modders, right?
Sure.
So, and I feel like if this doesn't have that much flexibility, it's getting there.
Skyward Sword motion control combat.
I kind of hope we don't get that again. But
I mean, this was the Skyward Sword, right? Like, this was the Skyward Sword Breath of the Wild. I mean, realistically, though, I mean, there's like, hold on, let me look at the map now. There's lots of water, isn't there? Like, you could just have the other side of the world be like.
I don't know.
The water
I
world.
think, I think enough people like Wind Waker, and I think if they did a true sequel to Wind Waker, or maybe I can't remember. It's been forever. I can't remember how Wind Waker ends, but if it was like a spiritual version or a prequel or set 100 years in the future or something.
So here, I'll take the devil's advocate position there. I think if you did a product called Wind Waker 2 with Toon Link and had it be of like a big flooded world.
Yeah.
If you put the Breath of the Wild systems in there, I think you're pissing a lot of people off at that point. It's just like, oh fuck, even Wind Waker's Breath of the Wild now? Like, come on. Like, I don't know, just give me Wind Waker 2, you know? Like, I want to have some islands with some complex dungeons and then go to the next one and have a couple things to fish for in between.
I think it's set up for success. You have, imagine building boats and fucking submarines and jet skis to get around, and then imagine exploring the underwater as opposed to the original game didn't have underwater. You just use your crane to pick up treasure.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
I think the mistake would be marketing it as Wind Waker 2. Likewise, I think it would have been a mistake for Tears of the Kingdom to be marketed as Skyward Sword 2. Because I think all that would do would make all the people who played Skyward Sword but didn't like Breath of the Wild because they're just like, I don't want open world survival crafting. I don't want to deal with it. That's not why I play Zelda. I just want to go through dungeons.
I think they would call it Wind Waker 2. They haven't never done a numbered titled sequel.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's true, but I assume though if they're bringing back Toon Link and everything, I think people would probably be expecting the Wind Waker gameplay format as opposed to the Breath of the Wild format, which I don't think it's controversial to say that's distinctly different. And I'd say the Wind Waker is probably the closest to Breath of the Wild of the N64 to Wii era Zelda games, though.
Yeah, I mean, it still has linear.
I don't know that Ocarina was kind of open, I guess.
Not really. That's
I mean, there were some big fields, but
look.
I mean, Wind Waker, you could actually kind of.
What are your thoughts on? Okay, I've always said this about Pokemon. Are you a big Pokemon fan, Flamenco? I forget.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the I haven't played the recent one.
Okay.
I wasn't really a big fan of the last generation, but yeah, I still like Pokemon.
Did your Pokemon go to the polls?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously though, Pokemon Go is the only Pokemon game I've ever played. I've just never really played the series. My wife is a huge Pokemon fan. Like there's Pokemon merch in my home. I just like it's just not.
I mean, women in
Fantasy
general
guy.
love fucking Pokemon shit. Honestly.
Yeah,
oh yeah, God, we have a stupid amount of Baby Yoda merch. None of us like Star Wars now at this point.
So here's my take on these franchises and Nintendo in particular. They're so tied to the handheld experience that all of our nostalgic memories go back to playing these games on handheld with like this this isometric kind of vibe to like the traditional formulaic Zelda or the formulaic Pokemon, or and what
for Pokemon more than Zelda. Zelda, I wouldn't say was a distinctly handheld series. There was like Minish Cap and
there's a lot. Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Minish Cap, Link Between Worlds, Ocarina of Time, 3DS.
Yeah, hell, the Link's Awakening remake was kind of in that vein too.
Yeah, that's true as well.
But here's the issue: that's I with Pokemon, and I'm thinking, maybe they could do this with Zelda too. I don't think they're going to, but imagine if Game Freak was like the triple. Nintendo was like, here, have triple the amount of developers for your studio. Now, what I want you to do is focus on next gen breath, keep improving the open world Pokemon thing, and at the same time we're going to be releasing parallel games that are much more similar to the original formulaic route system, gym battles, games that can operate in its own little ecosystem outside of the mainline progression for like open world next gen Pokemon experience. And I think that would be dope because I took have you played Link to that Link's Awakening remake by any chance? Or
Not
what?
yet. I need to, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, and then like, you know, that Pokemon, it didn't get a lot of good reviews, but that,
Arceus or Arceus. Oh god, I almost said a real name. X-Ray Girl played that.
No, what was the remake? Was it Sapphire?
Arceus, right?
No, they remade it. Was it Sapphire?
Ruby
Yeah.
and Sapphire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Now-
no, they just made a Diamond and Pearl remake that
That's what it was.
I don't
That's what it
think got really good reviews, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's what it was. I didn't play it and I can't remember why I didn't play it, but I don't know. I think that would be cool, especially with Zelda. Like if we could go back and have another game like Phantom Hourglass, or another game like
Link Between Worlds.
Or you could do like a Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess game that's more of like a Dark Souls Metroidvania thing, parallel to the open world Breath of the Wild experience. Like
I think more legacy franchises should be doing exactly that. I think who was it? I think it was Under the Mayo made a video on his desire for Resident Evil, Capcom, to, in addition to making whatever they're doing with the next Resident Evil, be it Resident Evil 9 or the next remake, to do a old school pre-rendered background fixed camera angle Resident Evil, but one where you use modern modeling to make the pre-rendered backgrounds look just stupidly good, and then have the most detailed character models that are blown out ray tracing to the nines that you can possibly imagine, because you're just rendering one character and a couple enemies on a static background. So it would be very easy to do cheap and have it look really, really nice, and to not stop doing first person Resident Evil and remake Resident Evil third person, but also be like, and we're also going to do some of these $30 ones that are like 3 hours long, and it's fixed camera angles, and it's a little side story about Chris Redfield going on like some secret mission or something like that. I was like, man, there could be a lot of series that are like, hey, this series has had several evolutions over the course of its 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is. Why don't we not pretend that only the most recent one matters? Why don't we have games that, like this could be a series with 5 different series within it. I think Zelda's a perfect example of that.
Well, Mario does it. They have their mainline Odyssey, Sunshine, but then they'll do Mario 3D at 3D
the new
World,
Super Mario Bros.
They'll do
and on 3D World. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's with Pokemon. I think they're going to keep doing these like remakes, maybe, but I don't see them going back to the formula. And to be honest, I don't think fans want that. Pokemon fans want next gen Breath of the Wild. They always complain it's not next gen enough, you know. And then now we have Breath of the Wild fans and Tears of the Kingdom fans saying we need to go backwards. So it's like, I don't think you can please fans, to be honest. They're going to be upset no matter what.
I meant no. Keep at this fidelity target. Don't target the Nintendo Switch 30 FPS. Just give us better hardware so that we can run it at 60.
Yeah.
I if anything, I'll be like, yo, Sony, Microsoft, you guys shoot those targets down to Switch, okay? That way your games will run well too, and they'll look amazing. They still look great. You'll just have to have good art direction. This obsession with we need to see the pores on people's faces. I'm just like, God, that so rarely results in a better video game. And the only time it does is stuff like if you're playing one of those like Heavy Rain or something, like the Quantic Dream games, because there's hardly any gameplay. You're basically watching a movie, so it looking really close to reality is sort of an element of the experience that I think you could say, well, I mean, I think Detroit Become Human had what's his name, Clancy Brown. I was like, I appreciated that just seemed like Clancy Brown was playing a live action role in this video game, because it looked that good. But I don't remember a whole lot else about Detroit Become Human, you know? Like, it's like, well, at what cost? At what cost was the visuals?
So this Kotaku article was all into, they just one after another. They keep just tripling down on their anti-Nintendo stuff. But I don't necessarily disagree with this subtext under the headline, like unanimous praise is boring. I don't know, but Flamenco was telling me to read up on that. I was doing a little bit of reading on this article, and apparently it's just, you're right. The guy doesn't. I gotta share the actual article.
The actual article that they're praising for being sort of a breath of fresh air in that is really, really poorly written. I can't tell if that's because he's the senior editor at Kotaku that I bullied on Twitter and got him to protect his account for 24 hours.
Oh, wait.
So he doesn't know how to like read properly, or if he's just salty. Yeah, it's the same guy.
Luke Plunkett?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He got into a little oopsie when he
I saw your whole back and
talking
forth.
about how he feels about block lists. He posts a picture of like a American World War II fighter pilot with confirmed Japanese like kill decals on his plane, and I'm just like, yeah.
I believe Colin Moriarty's exact words were, "Luke Plunkett is not a journalist; he's a fucking clown." I remember finding.
I mean, to be fair, clowns are supposed to be funny.
Yeah. I forget what even the context was. It actually might have been about Carolyn, like limited run games girl. Do you know her?
Oh, I don't know her.
Oh, she's cool. Yeah, she hung out with us in Vegas.
Nice.
I was like, damn those Japs, Kotaku. That's what he said. Look at this. That's what he said.
Seriously?
I mean, no, it's what he's saying with his
no, I don't think I don't think a modern American games journalist would refer to Japanese as Japs, but
I know,
yeah,
that's what he's thinking. That's what he's thinking.
God. Yeah,
it was really funny too because he deleted that tweet, and I made fun of him for it, and he reposted the tweet with a screenshot of me making fun of him before he deleted it again. That was a really fun time on Twitter.
I know there's a shrine in this cave. I do not know how to access it.
And let me go back to the other thing. But this is like, it's fair. If somebody wants to give it a 6 out of 10, they're welcome to give it a 6 out of 10.
Well, I mean,
that would be a tough argument.
The thing is, critics in general, when something is like ubiquitously well praised, to kind of distinguish themselves from the pack, they will give a game a contrarian score. Essentially, they'll just say, "Oh, this wasn't very good. I didn't like it." To really show them from being different from the pack. The only other person I can really think of like a big name example of this is Chris Chan's half brother Cole Smithy once did that for Toy Story 3. He tried to say that like Toy Story 3 was just a crappy movie, and it's like, and he couldn't really.
I wasn't aware Chris Chan had any family other than the mom.
Yeah,
I didn't realize he had any other relevant.
Classy Vigilante is right. What if it's warranted? Here's an example. Look at this. Elden Ring is a 96. I think this game is probably one of the best games ever made. Nope. I think it's probably in my top 10, and it's almost like people are saying that Nintendo shills are paid by Nintendo to give Tears of the Kingdom a 10. It's like, well, what are they paid by Sony to give this a 10? It comes a lot of the sometimes they're paid off, but it's really not as much of a.
I've always been of the opinion that it's less directly paid to write a good review and more the way I think The Last of Us, The Last of Us Part 2 review is probably
that's wild.
It's the easiest example though. The IGN Last of Us Part 2 review was a 10 out of 10 written by Jonathan Dorbush. Jonathan Dorbush does not work at IGN anymore. Do you know where he works?
No.
He works at Naughty Dog.
Oh, huh.
There you go.
And people can say, "Oh, well, yeah, it's a studio he's passionate about. He worked hard and he got a job, though." I was like, "Yeah," and like the tweet that he said was like, "This is a studio that I've been passionate about since I was a child, like playing Crash Bandicoot games, and I'm so honored to work here." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I believe he believes that. I'm not even going to say that he's lying or he's a shill or anything like that. I believe he actually loves Naughty Dog. I think the editors also knew that, and I think they assigned him that review because they knew, okay, here's how we get our 10 out of 10. Jonathan, do you want to review The Last of Us Part 2? Do I ever?
I mean, yeah. You can, a lot of those things are like being a good investigative reader of journalism and like noticing patterns and things like that. It's not that everyone's just paid off. That's not how it is,
No,
like I
think
said,
I think some of it is there are certain cultural memes that are spread, and people who maybe agree with those cultural memes will give something that they're reviewing a higher score if what they are reviewing happens to coincide with that. And I think that that's semi-intentional, but
yeah.
I mean, it's why I just think you got to just get rid of the numbers. Like, I think numbered reviews are not useful. They're only useful for getting a feel of, like, honestly, the meta review, the meta critic score is probably the only reason for it to exist. And Metacritic, as well as Rotten Tomatoes, are extremely flawed. I hate to go constant PC master race, but Steam's the one where, you know, every review you can see how many hours of the game.
Steam is
yeah, and the way that the Steam doesn't do numbered reviews, they do like a recommended or don't recommend it, and gives you a chance to like articulate why you like the game or not.
And the aggregate is given you recent as well as all time. So it's like, hey, this game recently got a lot of negative reviews, which, as a experienced reader of Steam reviews, you can say, okay, big storm of mostly negative that happened recently. Look up the game on Google. You will probably see something about a patch or like a new problem with the game or a balancing thing, or that
people
changed
got really fucking salty with something one of the developers
or it's just something dumb that's like, okay, they made another one gay, and now
I know for a fact Elite Dangerous's latest expansion was extremely not well received, and it shows in the Steam review score.
Yeah, and I think, though, that at the same time, if you say, for example, like, I think Overwatch is an easy one, just because I think people will understand. I'm not saying I don't appreciate there being, I don't know, lesbian Tracer. I don't care, really. It's fine. In fact, lesbian Tracer, kind of hot. But I mean that, like, if you're gonna say, okay, if you do not care about Soldier 76 being gay, and yeah, I know that Overwatch is not on Steam, but if you were able to look up Overwatch on Steam and look up the mostly negatives and saw that they were all from this week, and this was the week that Soldier 76 was announced as gay, you can probably be like, oh, okay, so I don't have to listen to any of the reviews in the last week. Like, they're all just reacting to the Soldier 76's gay stuff.
Although right now I would imagine that the negative reviews that Overwatch would have been gotten is Blizzard said that they're scrapping the PvE content that they were planning since like 2019, and how
are you kidding?
Yeah, and how
the
they
campaign?
sold what they sold Overwatch 2 on was the PvE. So yeah,
no one wanted to play Overwatch 2 because it was going to be more multiplayer. Like, it was like, okay, you could have just said new Overwatch maps. Then
I pray to God that Blizzard gets sold to Microsoft at this point, because
I'm sort of hoping that
is not handling this company well, and they're just going to be fucking hemorrhaging goodwill and money for like the next 5 years.
Well, I'll tell you what Activision did well with Blizzard recently was, I mean, they did a good thing for Blizzard at the cost of an independent as in they were their own thing, but they were owned by Activision. Was Vicarious Visions, because they basically just folded Vicarious Visions, and they essentially said, you're Blizzard now, and they got them all in doing the Diablo 2 Resurrected and then Diablo 4, like, essentially. They're like, here, make Diablo 2, because they were like, okay, we want to do that anyways. And then I think they're like, cool, that was really good. Now help them with Diablo 4 because it's on fire. And
it sounds like Diablo 4 is actually kind of fun right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was playing all weekend. I play it with an arcade.
It's really good.
It's quite a lot of fun. I think that my opinion on Diablo 4 should take into consideration I'm kind of a ARPG noob. Like, I'm not really I'm a casual player of ARPGs. I'm not like an expert. So if you're looking to me for, oh my god, is the end game going to keep me entertained for thousands of hours, I'll be like, I honestly don't know. But I think you could probably play it for 30 to 60 hours, level up a few characters, and then call it a day.
So getting back to the Steam reviews, the great thing about it is you have the tier list, positive, whatever, very positive, overwhelmingly, and then like the recent is so, like, No Man's Sky used to have like horrible reviews, and then it would say recent, like overwhelmingly positive, and then you're like, okay, why is that? Well, they fucking fixed the game. So it's you just know. Now here's another thing. Let's go back to Metacritic. Do you know what's crazy about this? Oh wait, let me go back to Cyberpunk for a second. Watch this. All right, Cyberpunk 2077. Got an 86. It's got an 86 right now. But a lot of these fucking people will rate a game, like IGN or whatever, or PC Games, they'll put out a review. I don't know how they gave it 100. Maybe this is the PC release. I should probably go to the.
Well, this is the PC release when it was incredibly bugged, so I don't think so. I think.
Well,
I think that
none of the versions of Cyberpunk worked well at launch.
When you see like a perfect 100, unless it's like a well-written article, chances are that person's just not very bright and that they're easily pleased with pretty much everything.
What I'm trying to say is a lot of websites will review a game, and then 6 months later, when the game is like, let's say I don't know, let's say Halo Infinite. I think it's way better now than it was at launch. They won't re-review the game. It has the same score it did at launch. So to me, that's kind of a problem. And it's like, that's why
massive problem.
Well, partially. I think that if a game has a really, really shit launch, but then manages to address all these issues, maybe there was like a problem with development or what have you, as long as they do that, and as long as they fix the game for free, because they released the game paid for, not working.
But how do
you I think there should be sort of a standard for readdressing and re-reviewing things.
Obviously there should be a total.
Game companies should be punished if they release a game that is not ready.
Broken,
yeah. But here's my take on this. If the game is actually unplayable, then I think that's you're right. You should be tied to your review in some way. If a game has like if a game has some bugs and shit, it's like, I generally speaking want my review. What I want to know if the game is fun to play, separate from whether or not it's playable. Like, if I want to know whether it's playable, I'll go to Steam. If I want to know if it's actually fun, like a quality piece of art, then I would hope that like a reviewer would say, this game is amazing and I'm going to give it a good score, but just so you know, there's some issues with the performance and that might get fixed in like a month or two.
Sure. You know what I mean? I feel as if it's really hard to make a game that's like broken in a lot of ways like Cyberpunk was and still give it a good score.
Like, there are examples like that. I'm not saying every. It's kind of a little bit of a gray area, but also
Cyberpunk was an interesting case too, because it being a role-playing game with a heavy focus on story made it so that there were elements of the game that were worthy of analysis and criticism that didn't have anything to do with the technical state. And it's one thing that I don't think this game would really matter that much at all for, at least from what I've played. Granted, I haven't played a whole lot. For all I know, it's much more story focused than Breath of the Wild, but I feel like this game wouldn't change a whole lot if I didn't know anything about the story. So if it was totally broken and the crafting system didn't work, or the Ultra Hand didn't work, or whatever it would be, then that would be a problem serious enough to be like, okay, this game is just garbage.
Honestly, we need to also just adopt this model that if you release like a buggy game and if you want to like regain some good favor, you gotta like release a really, really good like tie-in anime series, like to get people. It's like, oh hey, by the way, Cyberpunk 2077, it's actually playable now. It's like we fixed all the bugs, we fixed most of the way. It's mostly playable now.
And also Studio Trigger dropped a fucking banger on Netflix at like the same time.
I feel as if that might have been part of the, like, they might have been planning it, but after the game's like really horrible launch, they might have put it on the back burner until the game was actually finished. And if that was what their plan was, it definitely worked out, because I think like 2 years after it released, Cyberpunk 2077 was at the top of Steam's concurrent playing.
Yep.
Right after the anime launch, so
saved the game, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great anime, and the update was quite good too. In fact, the most recent video game-based video on my channel is a look at the Edge Runner update. I played the game twice when that update came out.
Did you see this though? This is what I was talking about. It's like No Man's Sky. These are the reviews at launch, and they're still up. It's like this entire web page is useless.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's just a useless page. And then you go to Steam. It's like everybody likes the game now. Well, I still don't love the game. I think it's got issues with like a sense of purpose, but that's just my personal like.
Oh, No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't that kind of always the issue with that game, though. It was just like, find,
Yeah.
I don't know, the center of the universe, whatever.
Like, build a cool base on this planet, but like, why though?
Yeah, actually, funny.
Like-
Speaking of Lynn, the limited run games girl, she wanted to start playing No Man's Sky with X-Ray Girl and I. So I guess if you have any interest in that, we can maybe get something going.
It is an impressive game, but
I've not really played much of it, but I like spaceships.
I think Starfield is gonna be an interesting thing. 112 days until launch.
Oh, it's gonna be so buggy. I could already tell.
Yeah, but don't you think that like Todd Howard would like just fucking want to kill himself if he released another bug game? Like I was him. I
No,
wouldn't-
not Todd.
No. Lofty.
When is he not released?
You know how like you feel feelings of shame and remorse when you get caught out in an obvious lie. Todd doesn't feel that. Todd would never feel shame at like re-releasing the same fucking game on a new console like 12 fucking years later. He won't ever feel bad about being
I won't go as far as to accuse.
lies.
I know the tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies thing is the meme, but I think the bigger thing with Todd is he's like, yeah, I mean, my games are, they're kind of broken when they launch. What do you want? It's a Bethesda game. Like, it's sort of my like, I don't think he's gonna be the one to be like, oh, it's glitchy again. Like, I think well, it's it works. Does it work? Okay, cool, we're good.
Did Skyrim win Game of the Year? I'm pretty sure it did.
Were the Game Awards even around in 2011?
Yeah, I think they were.
I think they might have been on Spike TV back then. And,
I
don't know. Like, I mean, Game of the Year, I think for me at least it was Electronic Gaming Monthly for years. That's the only one I really gave a shit about.
EGM.
And then I think it kind of became GameSpot, or then Giant Bomb for a little while after GameSpot kind of collapsed. And Giant Bomb's sort of format for Game of the Year is weird. They do like a several days long, multiple hours discussion. It's really in depth, and I end up finding out about a lot of games. But even their last few episodes have been kind of shit. So I guess it's fundamentally the Game Awards thing, but ultimately there is no official Game of the Year. It's why it's the old meme of 500 games released last year with a Game of the Year edition at the end of the year, and it's like, wait, you can't all be the Game of the Year.
I mean, if this game is like, I just hope it's not. I really hope it's not buggy, because I want to love this game, man. I just do, but. I think this game is
buggy is fine.
Game of the Year. So we have Starfield, as long as it's not Cyberpunk, is probably going to be nominated. I think Resident Evil 4 is going to be nominated. I think Spider-Man 2 is going to be nominated, and I think Street Fighter 6, and I think probably Final Fantasy 16.
I think they're going to snub Street Fighter for sure.
I mean,
it's like horror movies at the Oscars. It's like people just don't give a shit about fighting games.
Well, there's never like 4 really good fighting games releasing at the same year for them to like put side by side. So
well, they could always nominate one for Game of the Year, though.
Yeah. I hope. I haven't actually touched Street Fighter 6's betas, so I don't know if it's any good, but I heard good things.
Good. The AI is pretty easy, though.
Yeah.
Did you guys see?
Like, that's the problem. You can't change the difficulty. I think it would be a great demo to play and practice with if the AI were harder, but it's like they have you on novice mode or something, so you're kind of just throwing fireballs at a dummy. I mean, it's fighting you back, but not very vigorously.
Did you guys see this gameplay? Final Fantasy 16?
No, no. I've actually been kind of avoiding stuff on FF16.
Yeah, I'm not going to show all of it, but like it straight up looks like Devil May Cry, dude. It looks amazing. The action looks
like it could be tons of fun.
They show off like 40 different moves or unique original combos in this one video. and I just hope to God that it comes out next month. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I actually kind of wish it was a little later because I would really have liked more time to dig into both Diablo 4 and Street Fighter 6.
I wish it would come out.
I have a feeling
PC
that those three games,
but it's not happening.
I know. What game released? Oh, it was Horizon Zero Dawn. It released the same fucking week as Breath of the Wild. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was sad. That was unfortunate for Horizon.
And then Forbidden West will release like a little bit before Tears of the Kingdom, and
yeah.
I see. I can see people still talking about Tears of the Kingdom. I don't see people talking about.
Yeah.
Well, no, for Forbidden West, it happened with Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about its new DLC specifically.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah, the Burning Shores, which for a
Carlos Estrada,
a game which stars a redheaded woman, Burning Shores. Just I don't know, the images that calls to mind are not.
So Carlos
nice.
says Street Fighter 6.
It's like I don't know if you guys named that DLC correctly.
Carlos says Street Fighter 6 has an inclusion slant, so it has a chance for Game of the Year. Yeah, he's talking about the some of the like a trans character, a new what was the I don't think.
Did you say Far Cry DLC? Like Far Cry 6?
No, Street Fighter 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they have like you know.
I mean, wasn't there always
there's always
poison trans?
Yeah. Well, there's always been
or like supposed to be
trans or transvestite. Sorry? I don't one of them, one of the two.
Well, I mean, yeah, like okay, I guess I don't know what she identifies as, but like I'm honestly pretty hot.
But Street Fighter has always had quirky and weird characters. That's like it's like saying One Piece is like woke because
Hassan's a weird
One Piece is
Turkish wrestler Turkish wrestler character in 4. There's oh god, what's the Rufus, the ultra fat guy that has really fast moves? That doesn't make sense. His body doesn't make sense.
Rufus. Yeah. Or Hugo. Hugo? Yeah, Hugo's hilarious.
Hugo.
He's a giant, disgusting.
Oh yeah. He's one of Poison's friends. He's from Final Fight.
Yeah, he's Poison's. I like Street Fighter Alpha 3. That was my favorite. But still waiting.
I played much of the Alpha games lately. I think I have that anniversary. The Alpha games are in the anniversary collection, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, Mega Man Anniversary Collection.
Oh shit!
Just came out. Battle Network. That was. I wanted to play that too. That's on the Switch. The Switch has so many games. I love the Switch personally.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so many games to play on it. Animal Crossing. You got fucking all the main games, right? All the main Nintendo games.
Oh, I mean, I want to clarify because. Yeah. I guess I might be being painted as something of a Switch hater, which not totally wrong, but well, I mean, yeah, but I do also. I have a Switch OLED. I've tuned into two Switches in my house. I have my launch day model, the one that I use to dump games that I buy legally, and my OLED model, which is what I'll play if I'm just on the go. Although now I don't use that one much, except to recently play Metroid Prime Remastered and now Tears of the Kingdom. But I think I love playing games on Switch that run well. Games that run at a clean 60 FPS on Switch, I have no problem with playing on Switch. I think it's a great piece of hardware.
Smash Ultimate.
My problem.
60 FPS.
Sorry?
I think Smash Ultimate runs at a 60 FPS.
Yeah,
doesn't
Super
it?
Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 8, Super Mario Odyssey. All of those run at 60 FPS. They're all Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3. I mean. There's lots of them. There's lots of games that run really well on Switch. Quake, one of my favorite games of all time, runs at 60 FPS on Switch and plays really well with gyro controls, actually. You can even get through a Quake game on a console
Hollow Knight
comfortably.
Has 60 FPS too.
Lots of games do. But my problem is that when you... And if it's just a handheld system, it's like, okay, the on-the-go version of this game, I'm going to play at 30, fine, whatever. But my thing is when you lock a game at 30 and make it so that there's no option for me to play it at at a proper frame pacing for my display, which at least in North America, your standard hertz rate is 60 hertz. So 60 FPS is one unique frame per refresh of your typical screen, a typical low-end screen. Which, I mean, you always got to appeal to the lowest common denominator to a degree. But, and again, I'd have zero problem with it if it's like, okay, so just let me buy the more powerful Switch. But they're like, no, you got to play it the way Nintendo intended you to experience. I'm like, What? I mean, running kind of shit. Like, I mean, it's still a good game. I still love it. I still think it's fantastic, but it's not running the way it should be. Like the way that this game would be if it were at its best. And I think that it's a shame that Nintendo doesn't give people the option for that, or at least officially.
Yeah.
There's also this. Hold on a second here. Let me find it. There's this. Do you hear about this quick? I just wanted to bring this up while we're on gaming news. Amazon MMO developed by Amazon Games, or Lord of the Rings MMO. I'm sorry, developed by Amazon and Embracer Group Middle Earth Enterprises. You hear about this?
Lord of the Rings Online did pretty well, didn't it? Isn't it still up and running? So, I mean, that's not a terrible call.
No, it's not a terrible call. It's just people hate Amazon for various reasons.
I guess that's true.
So, and Amazon Games just, I don't know if you followed the New World controversy, but that game had a pretty bad launch, and people have issues with a lot of things in the New World MMO. And if they're going to do the same format, personally, the New World sucked because it doesn't have mounts. Like, you have to walk.
Really? I thought people liked the New World. I heard a lot of good about that. I'm not really a big MMO guy. I play FF14, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, apparently they screwed up the economy though, and like I said, map traversal is another big issue with that game. And then I can't talk to Pimp Master Broda. Has all the he was big into it, and he was like telling me all about it. But I want to play this so bad. Like, I want, and I love Lord of the Rings Online. I think it's amazing. However, it's like ancient, you know. But it's still fun to play. I just want like a beautiful Middle Earth immersive game, and I don't even like MMOs, but I would play this one, you know. I don't like MMOs personally. I think they're, it's like, I tried playing Final Fantasy 14. It took me like 50 fucking hours for anything interesting to happen, and then they're like, oh, you gotta get past the first A Realm Reborn for the game to start to get good. And I'm like, wait, so you're telling me I gotta play 60 fucking hours of this thing before it starts?
Yeah, that is kind of a shit aspect to go with.
So bad. It's so bad.
I mean, like, yeah, but like, they could just make it.
Part of it was the story direction and writing. It definitely changed tax after Heaven's Sword, and it really shows in a lot of things. Like, A Realm Reborn just kind of had a generic fantasy story, and it didn't really seem to have an idea of what it was trying to do with like the other expansions going forward. Whereas like the only expansion afterward that has like kind of iffy writing is Stormblood, but that's mostly because of like a very unfocused story direction.
I just don't like the gameplay loop. I'm tired of point A to point B fetch quests from MMOs. That's all they ever do. And I'm just like, can you please invent a new fucking MMO? Like, do something different?
Well, like, I mean, to be fair, the real point of MMOs at the end of the day is
but not everybody has friends. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he does have a point. The main story quest, especially in FF14, it is very fetch questy.
Yes, it is very focused on fetch quests.
It's just sprint to point A to point. It's like, and you know what? Somebody told me, they're like, ignore almost all of the quests in the game and only do this.
Yeah, just do MSQ.
Just do MSQ and just do quests that have like the little blue border because they unlock things.
Yeah. Oh, wait, is it green?
Like RuneScape
is like the trade ones, right? Like how you get paladins.
Well, there's ones that have like the little blue filling in their little icons, and those unlock things in the game.
Oh, cool.
I like RuneScape. I just think MMOs are like, it's like to me, it's like the same. They're the same as they were 15 years ago. Not much has changed, and they need to start making MMOs more appealing to people who don't like them, because there's a lot of people that are tired of that format. Like, why can't a game be like Elden Ring or Dark Souls, but like an MMO? Like, why can't?
I think because with that many players, a game like that wouldn't work well. Yeah. Like, I think it's like maybe the fetch questy stuff is the only thing that works in that context. Maybe
I think that rating will always be the main draw for MMOs myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But Destiny's kind of cracked that out of strictly being an MMO thing. So
but Destiny raids are like 3-person, right?
But
no,
is
6.
there something
Okay.
6, and they're pretty complex. I used to do a lot of
all
Destiny
right.
raiding. Like you need to know your shit. You need to have someone teach it to you. And I eventually got to the point that I could teach people raids, and that was actually a very satisfying video gaming experience overall. It's like, oh, okay, now I have new people. Okay, just listen. We're gonna do this on the easiest difficulty.
So
stand on this platform.
I know people like raiding, but there's a lot of people that like good questing and they like immersive role playing. And it's like if like Star Wars: The Old Republic had really good questing. That's probably the best MMO I've ever played, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a fantastic MMO.
I fired it up a few years ago, and I fired up Old Republic a few years ago, and I couldn't get past even the opening areas. I'm just like, I don't know if this is for me.
Try the bounty hunter class. It's the storyline's
it's like I've had people be like, no, just play the Jedi quest, you'll be totally in. And I think right now the big problem is I'm just like, man, I'm so fucking done with Star Wars right now. I can't even play Jedi Survivor, and I really liked Fallen Order. I'm just like still like, fuck you, Star Wars. You suck.
Yeah, Survivor to me is just not. It doesn't look appealing to me. It's just kind of boring to look at. I don't know. Star Wars needs to be flashy. Like I don't know, man. Survivor has just that Ubisoft generic like open world thing going for it.
I think it's more like Arkham-y, isn't it? Like, or at least the first one was kind of more of a like 3D Metroidvania kind of deal, where you get abilities and then you can unlock new areas. In fact, I think one of my friends was telling me that the one thing that's really weird about Jedi Survivor is like you should not even bother touching any of the side quests or trying to unlock secrets until you're most of the way through the game, because you're just going to end up going down a long cave that takes you through this big maze that you're going to have a bunch of combat in. You're going to get to the end, and then you're going to not have the ability you need to open the room that the chest is in. And I was like, well, that sucks. But so
I don't know.
We apparently got some issues, but
this Lord of the Rings thing, I don't know where it's going, but we'll see. I guess But as far as like Zelda is like, so you guys, I'm excited to just play through all of the boss fights, man, because that was my favorite part of Breath of the Wild, and I think
the boss
these
fights
are way better. Wait, Flamenco, you've actually done a dungeon or two, right?
Like the main story dungeon for Breath of the Wild.
Did you do the
Tears of the Kingdom?
Did you do the what is it, the Rita Village quest line?
Yeah.
Is that fun? That my brother says it gets pretty epic.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like it. It's a fun little boss fight.
Nice. Did you do the fire one yet? The volcano?
Oh no.
No, not yet. I've only done one.
Gotcha. There's the cool dude. This game has so many outfits. Do you guys know that you can get old Zelda outfits like Wind Waker and
is it just with is it the same way you could get the Ocarina of Time one in Breath of the Wild? You just have to have the emoji, or sorry,
you don't have to have an amiibo for it.
You can get it
amiibo, not emoji. Emojis are
they're actually built into the game's like cave systems and like hidden areas.
Oh, I was just in a cave.
Yeah. Dude, the caves get wild. Like some of them are crazy.
I think I just went into my first one. It was kind of interesting. I couldn't figure out the puzzle in it though. I don't know if I understand.
Guys, if you don't know, chat, if you haven't played this game yet, the most surprising thing to me about this entire game is the underground area. It's straight up bigger than Elden Ring's underground. I'm not even joking. It's massive. It's the whole fucking
What's
map.
The size of the Hyrule area?
It's the same size as the thing above it. And you know what's crazy? You can jump from the highest sky island all the way down with no load times, no frame drops, all the way into a chasm that's like 1,000 feet below the earth, and still there's no load times. It just blows my mind how this thing can run on a Switch with a 16 gigabyte download. It's crazy. It's actually... I don't know how they made this.
Well, a big part of that is just when you don't have crazy 4K textures and pre-rendered cutscenes every 5 minutes, it's pretty easy to keep your game size small, man. It's not.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what
Memory management's it's a
Assassin's-
problem of the AAA industry only. Or not memory management, sorry, capacity management, storage management.
Yeah, here's the one I was gonna show. Hold on, it's where's it at? Is this it? Yeah. This quickly, I will say, gives a good breakdown. This is Digital Foundry. This video gives a great breakdown of the performance, and he goes into, you see he has the frame rate bars on the bottom. He talks about the patch update. If you're just curious, I would just watch this review. It goes into side-by-side comparisons between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. All these different, he talks about dual, wait, what's it, VSync, what the fuck is it called? I can't remember, but it goes into all the details of the
adaptive sync, or
it's like
variable refresh rate, VRR.
Well, this is what it here. This is
returns to 900 the camera in place. You may notice a change in the sharpness.
It's called variable refresh rate. Is that what?
I don't know.
It's like it drops to 720p when you're moving the camera, and then it goes back up when you
Oh, that's a dynamic resolution.
Yeah, and then he talks about
Zelda offers the level of interaction.
bunch of really, I don't know. I just highly recommend this video, Digital Foundry's video. But it's like, holy shit, the game's huge. You know, that underground part is awesome. Like, I like the horses. Did you explore that yet much?
Yeah, the
Similar
depths
to
are
what we saw in
okay.
game. When you first toggle
There's
this
not
in
a
a
whole
busy
lot
area,
in them, but they're fun to do, and it's good to get some resources. But that's pretty much it.
It is good for resources. I just haven't done enough. I thought I mean, I'm assuming it's a lot of it's very samey. But yeah, I just think it's cool. It's a cool like addition. Now, if they did a Wind Waker sequel, I'm thinking, dude, just copy that kind of, you know, mechanic where you go underwater instead of like into a chasm, you know. Also, imagine Toon Link with a little scuba gear and like you're just swimming underwater and like you can instead of stamina, it's like oxygen or something. Like, I just think that it's so
would be pretty
perfect.
awesome.
I mean, perfect for Wind Waker. I don't know, man. But yeah, so overall, I think this game's great. I do think the one complaint I have is like, okay, if I want to get the glider gear armor,
It does.
I gotta go. Well, that's the easiest one to get, but like, what's the other one I'm trying to get?
Oh, you just mean the like an armor set? I thought you meant the glider itself.
If I want to get
thought,
oh yeah,
I honestly thought there was a good chance it wasn't going to be in this game. I was like, I haven't seen a fucking
No.
glider yet.
The armor sets are you will never get a whole set unless you look up tutorials on how to get them. That's pretty, especially the Toon Link. If good luck trying to find Toon Link armor set, costume, or outfit, you will it'll take you 100 hours to find it. I watched the guy get it on YouTube, and it's like so far out of the way. It's really cool because it's obscured underground into this really weird cave that you don't even know exists until you break a wall down. Like,
that's the From Software method.
But it's cool. It's like Elden
let's
Ring.
create things where the community will eventually figure this game out over time. We don't need them to know it all right away.
Yeah, and there's like, yeah, but that's what's part of the reason why I like games like this and Elden Ring. It's very community driven. There's like, let's say you and your 5 buddies. This happened with Elden Ring. I'm like, hey, have you fought this boss yet? And they're like, no. Where's that? And like, I'll tell them where to go, and then like, it's almost old school like vibes where back in the day before the internet, you're just like talking to your friends on how to like beat these boss fights and like, all these old games, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. It's just like, I get the same vibe with Elden Ring, and even with this game, it's like, although now everything is online with YouTube videos, but I like this a lot. I like this experience. Like, I just was watching a way to farm rupees efficiently, and it's just like I try not to look up things if I don't need it, and just explore by myself. But I just needed rupees quick, and I was like, well, it's an efficient way to do it, and I'm sure there's 100 ways to farm rupees, But Let's see here. We're all going to the different corners of the map to discover stuff at the same time. Yeah, that telling you guys, that's why it was so popular on Twitch. Everyone's like, okay, how does this person play this game? How does this person play it? Everybody's playing it differently at different speeds, at different, you know what I mean? And that's part of the reason why I like getting games at launch. I don't like, people are like, oh, I'm gonna wait for a sale. It's like, well, Elden Ring still isn't even on sale. You fucking missed out on all the fun. You missed out on all the community fun. Unless you don't care about that, but
I mean that's true, though. I find most games don't really lose that much from like waiting to play them a few months later, especially if they aren't really community-driven sandboxy games. Because both, like the two examples there, are both Elden Ring and Tears of the Kingdom. Here, these are very flexible games with a lot going on that is discoverable and very community-driven and is kind of fun to do with a big group of strangers, like all looking things up for each other and whatnot. It's all good stuff. The thing is, like if you don't really care about that stuff, or if you just missed out on a game because you didn't think you'd be interested at a time, but you picked it up on a sale, there's plenty of games that I've then started playing months after they were released and was like, yeah, man, this game's all right. Like I'm having a pretty good time with this now. And then I'll often end up telling my friends about it, and then, that game might get a second win because of it. Not just because of me, but
I think Elden Ring and this game in particular are very fun for Twitter, for Twitch communities, for YouTube communities, just to kind of all come together and stop talking about fucking politics and just spam Zelda memes and videos all day long. Like,
the fact that someone built like a flying death machine in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, get on Tears of the Kingdom Twitter, everybody. It's wild.
I saw somebody make like a mech robot. And they used rewind for the arms, and I was like, people that are really good with math and engineering are going to have a really good time with this game.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I just wanted to say we're going to wrap up in a minute. I just wanted.
I am live on Lofty's channel, honey. X-Ray Girl's here.
Hi,
X-Ray Girl. Do you want to come on the show?
I'm invited.
Yeah. Here. Well, we're talking about Tears of the Kingdom, and you know that. So, hold on one sec. Yes.
I was just about to wrap up.
We'll
say hi to X-Ray Girl quick. Oh, Bayonetta. Behind you.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Do you want to be on camera or off camera?
Are you enjoying the game?
I love the game. Oh my god, it's so good. I'm in the sky right now. Again, not the first time.
Yeah.
And that dungeon was very hard.
Yeah. Oh wait, what dungeon?
You did a dungeon in the sky?
Or something like that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Shrine?
I know what you're talking about. It's probably the cold area, the mount, like the.
Yeah, I had to I was so lucky. I had the warm clothes because I didn't have any level 2 frozen stuff.
I know. I made a crap ton of meals, but I don't know if it's gonna last me. I mean, I don't know. How long does that take?
You can make elixirs too.
Yeah, I made elixirs. Yeah, I have like 5-10 minute long elixirs.
Oh my god. That hopefully should be enough.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So yeah, I can wait for that. Tomorrow I'm going to stream that part of the game, guys. Wednesday night, if you want to tune in, it'll just be like the first boss. So if you don't want spoilers, you can skip it. But otherwise, I think it's been long enough. And then I might do another stream again Saturday, just for something. I'm not streaming the whole game, but people seem to like it. So.
Who else is in this chat? I can't read.
Flamenco TV.
Hello, Flamenco.
His profile picture is a little teddy bear who's dressed like Kamina from Gurren Lagann that Extra Girl and I started watching together.
Gurren Lagann's pretty good.
The peak of masculinity.
Huh?
Gurren
Lagann?
The leader of Team Gurren.
Sorry.
And then Team Daigurren.
I don't know why. I thought you meant flamenco was the peak masculinity.
I mean, he is. Look at him.
I can't see. It's so small.
He's a dog.
Tiny little doggy.
I can't see.
Okay, hold on one sec. I gotta make. Yeah, she's right there.
Yeah, I do the VTuber shit, so I have like a little anthropomorphic dog.
Wait, I saw this promo for a new VTuber like social thing, and you were in it. Is that just was that you, or was that just like?
I think I might have made an account just so that like nobody would steal it and say weird shit on my specific one. No,
do you know what I'm talking about? There's this video promoting.
Dude, she's trying to steal my puppy.
A VTuber social app that you can. It was trending on Twitter the other day. And your little dog was one of the VTubers in the promo video.
Oh, I mean, the dog thing that I use is like a base model that a person who watches my streams has like added a bunch of different shit to it. So it's kind of like mine. I know that there's a Spanish Warhammer 40K channel that does stuff too.
For the Emperor.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I like doing the VTuber thing. I'm gonna try to. Me and X-Ray Girl are gonna do a little. I gotta talk to you about.
Oh,
it.
sorry.
We're professional VTubers.
Yeah, right. We're leading the space.
Yeah, obviously.
We got to make it so that we could just get her one of those green morph suits, and she can walk into my stream as her
I feel
VTuber
like he would like love that. Mark would love if I wore a green suit.
No, but so that you're your VTube avatar as you're walking around this room. It would be hilarious. I'd be like Dr. Krieger. Krieger-san.
Wait, so do you all love Tears of the Kingdom then?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yep. It's great. It's just like Breath of the Wild though. So
I mean, I only played Breath of the Wild for like 3 hours, so
yeah.
On an emulator, like
not
a
enough.
total Giga Chad, my wife. Yeah.
I think I was saying before we're gonna go, but I just wanted to what you just said. I think it's better in almost every way than Breath of the Wild. It improves upon the weapon durability with the fusion. It improves upon the map traversal with Ascension and then gliding and Sky Islands now, so it's easier to get around, and vehicles. And I think the shrines are more fun. I think the environments are more interesting now. It's just in every way it's better, you know. So all these people who are like Breath of the Wild's my favorite video game ever made are gonna now have to now they're gonna have to say that Tears is their number one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're gonna have both of those games as their top.
Tell you, man, you never say something's your favorite ever when it's only been out for a little while. Just say it might be.
I know, yeah.
Haven't decided, but it might be.
Yeah.
It's more mysterious.
I think Elden Ring. I've been trying to hold my tongue on Elden Ring, but I honestly do think it's like top 10 for me ever made. It's just that good, man. It's just holy hell.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah. And even I love Bloodborne too, but I just think Elden Ring is
sorry.
I still think Bloodborne is a little bit more fun, but that's just me.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Bloodborne's also the one that's still stuck running poorly though. But Bloodborne's got the best lore. I think Sekiro has the best combat. Elden Ring absolutely has the most flexibility. And Dark Souls 1, I think, still probably has the tightest design overall.
Yeah.
I think one of the strongest points for Sekiro is that there's only one weapon, so the combat's tooled around that one weapon.
It's a character class. The character class is ninja. You're just a ninja. That's all you can be, and they fine-tune that combat to like a mirror machine, I think.
Yeah.
Personally.
A lot of parrying too. You got to be fucking good at action games.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Ninja Gaiden a little bit.
I'm such
not
a
really
master
even good at action
parrying
games. You just learn how to do that in the game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I was so happy when I found out Hi-Fi Rush has the Sekiro parrying system almost exactly. Like, at a certain point, it's like, you can tap that same button in time with the attacks and do rhythmic parries, and I'm just like, yeah. Guitar Hero and sword fighting. That's what I like combining. X-Ray Girl, I think your phone's in here. She just pinged it.
Flamenco's voice is higher pitched than I remember. What? How do you?
It might just be the way that the sound is going through it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess. Well,
I'm also breathing through my mouth a little bit more today because my allergies are killing me. So I'm gonna go to bed after this.
Yeah, I have allergies too, buddy. Bad ones.
I gotta get an allergy medicine.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I really appreciate everybody for joining. I just wanted to get to around because some people I don't know. I just noticed there's like this pull. People are being pulled in all these different directions with the conversation around this game, and I just wanted to like cover all those dynamics. Maybe you guys have a stronger opinion on what this franchise now than before the stream started. It sounds like everybody here kind of likes the game, and it's totally perfectly acceptable if you have issues with everything we brought up. Really, I just think my main thing was like the review bombs are just retarded. If you're participating in review bombing, I don't even care that you're doing it, but you just look stupid. Like it's just dumb, man. It's just,
well, I mean, like I'm in support of review bombing when it's like there's an actual sort of what would be the word for it, a consumer voice that needs to be heard, because review bombing is something that they do listen to it because they look at it, they're like, okay, why is our game tanking in scores? The thing is, though, if the review bomb is very clearly like, okay, it's just people that don't like Nintendo and or don't like Zelda or don't want this to win Game of the Year over Spider-Man or whatever it ends up being, it's like, well, I can't support that because that's ridiculous and childish and silly. But I mean, hell, man, like if something happens, like they totally tank the balancing on a game, on a multiplayer game with an update, and you review bomb it, I'm like, okay, well, that's, I guess they had it coming, I suppose. Like they shouldn't have changed the balance, or they should change it back. And guess what? The reviews will alter.
I'm very much give the score that it deserves. Don't give it a 0 because you think that they deserve to get fucked. I just have never, ever in my life done that. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I know I kind of get autistic about it, but I just think people don't know how to use the proper rating scale, and they use it for other reasons, which is can work.
Well, I think the problem is just that like it's why it's the system of user reviews on stuff like Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes, where you don't have to verify that you've actually even experienced the thing that you're reviewing, which you got to figure, like, as far as a threshold for legitimacy, it's like, did you see the thing? Did you play the game? That should be pretty low, and it's tough if it's just, hey, create an account on our website, and that's it.
Steam
that's all you got to do,
because it logs how many hours you played it. So if somebody's like, this game is ass, and then they played for 3
hours,
for
10 minutes, man.
Yeah, you know. And quick before I go, there's this game I just wanted to shout out. It's called Age of Wonders 4. I was just showing it earlier on the stream, but it's fantastic. If you're not playing, if you don't have a Switch, you can go ahead and check this game out if you like strategy games. I just highly recommend it. It's like Civilization meets Total War, but it has a magical kingdom vibe to it, and the character customization is I'm trying to find a picture. It's insane. There's thousands and thousands of faction builds and different things like that, and it's just extremely fun, guys. Highly recommend it. Age of Wonders. So anyway,
is it the same series as Age of Empires? Just like
no,
it's not like Age of Mythology or something.
No, it's Paradox. So it's the guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the ones I was talking about earlier, like Stellaris and Crusader Kings.
Crusader Kings, Cities Skylines, Heart of Iron. So if you like these games, Victoria, I think this is the easiest one to get into that I've ever played. It's it's simple. It's not as complex as Crusader Kings or Civilization, but it's also very dynamic. So highly recommend it. Anyway, thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks, Flamenco, for taking the time out of your day and your allergies to join.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
And chat, we'll see you again tomorrow. And I'll stream this probably for a couple hours tomorrow night. Do a boss battle, and maybe I'll have I have something else coming up, but I can't remember what it is. But anyway, thanks for sticking around, Mark.
Yeah, no problem. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom this whole time.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do when I get off here. I'm gonna go get a whiskey and play games.
Yeah,
enjoy your whiskey, dude.
Yep. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Later.
Adios.